Welcome back. So, today what I am going to prove to you a very important result that if a convex programming problem has a minimum, then it is always a global minimum. So, what we are looking at is a convex programming problem, which is what is that problem? The convex programming problem is minimize f of x coming from C. C is a subset of Rn. C is a subset of Rn. It is a convex set. Okay. We'll call this problem as problem CP. Let's call this problem as problem CP. And f of x is a convex function. Okay. Now, given this particular problem, let x star be a minimum of it, then it is a global minimum. So there is no confusion between local minimum and global minimum in the case of convex programming. If it exists, then it is a global minimum. This is what the result is. Now, question number one. Does this statement say that lemma does my lemma say that it always has to have a minimum? No. Uh, I mean, does a CP or convex programming problem always have a minimum? That's not really true. For example, if you look at e to the power x, minimize e to the power x and x coming from R. This is a convex programming problem, and if you sketch it, how does it look? It looks like this. So limit x tending to minus infinity, it goes to 0, e to the power x uh, e to the power x goes to uh, e, I'm sorry, e to the power x goes to 0, which is to say that infimum of e to the power x is 0, but it is not achieved by any finite x, is it not? So therefore we clearly see that it's not necessary that a convex programming problem should have a minimum, but what we are saying is that if there is a minimum, that let means you know that there is a minimum, then it is a global minimum. For example, in this above example, if I had said that x, uh, let x come from -1 to +1, then f of -1 equal to e to the power -1 is the global minimum, because this interval is a convex set. This interval is a convex set. The function is convex over it. So, and by Weierstrass theorem, it has a solution, and therefore that that solution is indeed -1 very clearly from the observation, and you also see that it is actually a global minimum. Okay. Now, when we say global minimum, uh, when we say global minimum, can there be multiple a multiple minimums at same cost? Yes. For example, if I look at a uh, if I if I look at a cup shaped, this flattened cup shaped kind of a structure here, all of them here are in this here, all are global minima. So you can have multiple x, but all of them are minimum, but are at the same cost. Okay. So now let's prove this. Now let's prove this result. What is it that we want to prove? Let x star be a minimum. That is, given that it is a minimum, then it is a global minimum. This is what we want to prove. So uh, to the contrary, I am going to do the proof by contradiction. To the contrary, let there be a local minimum at xl such that f of xl is greater than f of x of star. Okay. So let's call, instead of x of star, let's call it as x of g. Okay, global and local. So makes uh, notationally simple. So let there be a local minimum at xl, and since it it is not at the same cost, its cost has to be higher than that of the global minimum. Okay. Now consider a line segment. I'm going to consider a line segment from XL to XG. So I'm going to, or rather from XL to XG, and I'm going to write it as set of all X such that lambda comes between 0 and lambda takes value between 0 and L. So what I am actually saying here is, this is, if you look at it the way, I could have I could have written xg here also, and sorry, xl here also, and I could have written xg here also. So lambda is from 0 to 1 anyway. All the points uh, all the points on this line segment would be considered when I go from it. So which one first, whether I call it as XL or XG, it is my choice. But this time I have chosen in this particular way because I can write it as XG minus XL, which is to mean that as I increase the lambda being 0, I am at XL, and the as I increase the lambda, I traverse towards xg on this line segment. So that's the reason I took this particular representation. Now by convexity of f over c, what have we got here? F of lambda xg plus 1 minus lambda xl is less than or equal to lambda times of f of xg plus 1 minus lambda times of f of x of l, is it not? But f of x of g is strictly less than f of x of L. So therefore, f of lambda xg plus 1 minus lambda of xl is less than or equal to, is strictly less than, now I can use strictly less than for f of x of g. I am going to write here the inequality strictly less than f of x of L, and so I can write, and then um, I'm going to take f of x of L common here and here after I have used this inequality. So therefore I am going to write this as strictly less than 1 lambda plus 1 minus lambda f of x of L, and this is nothing but equal to f of x of L. So what is the result that I have got? I have got the result, and now instead of this I am going to substitute this way of representation. So I am going to write this as f of x of L plus lambda xg minus xl is strictly less than, where is it coming from? It's coming from this. It's strictly less than f of x of L. So that means whatever small neighborhood I choose, whatever small neighborhood I choose around XL, okay, epsilon neighborhood that I choose around XL, just put lambda to be strictly less than that epsilon neighborhood. So lambda, take lambda to be strictly less than that epsilon, and you see that every point on the line segment from XL up in that neighborhood here will give a function value which is strictly lower than f of x of L. But then this this contradicts the claim that f of x of L is a local minimum at higher cost. Because it contradicts actually the claim that f of xl is a, uh, to be honest, what it contradicts is, it contradicts the claim that f of x of L is a local minimum. That itself is becomes a invalid statement. It contradicts the claim that f of x of L is a local minimum, because whatever small neighborhood, epsilon neighborhood you choose around it, so long as you take lambda less than epsilon, every point in that neighborhood, every feasible point, every point in that neighborhood which is also belongs the convex set C, which is found out by choosing, traversing this particular line, and choosing epsilon, uh, lambda to be less than epsilon, will give you a valid point inside the neighborhood with a cost which is lower than the cost of the local minimum, which is a contradiction, because then it says that f of x of L is not a local minimum. So where did we go wrong? We went wrong in this assumption that, to the contrary, let there be a local minimum at a higher cost. So then what does it mean? It means every local minimum is a global minimum for the every local minimum is a global minimum for the convex programming problem. Second, it tells you that if x, say x bar and x star be two minimums, both are global of course, to the convex programming problem, then the complete line segment is a set of minimums always global to the CP. How do you say that? Because you take look at this line segment, and this is less than or equal to lambda of f of x of bar plus 1 minus lambda f of x 1 minus lambda f of x of cap, and both of them are having the same cost, both of them have the same value, so therefore this is less than or equal to lambda plus 1 minus lambda into f, I will just write global minimum f of x of g, and therefore but nothing can go below a global minimum. This is less than or equal to, but nothing can go below a global minimum, so therefore I'm sorry, will all of them be have the same cost. So if two are there, the point which I am trying to sort of say is that you cannot have a condition like this, that there is one local minimum sitting here and then another local, I mean, I'm sorry, this is anyway not feasible because each of them are global minimums. So you cannot have something like this. Both of them are global minimum, but they are separated out, they are isolated out. That is not possible. Then the line segment itself, this function itself is not convex. It's very clear that its epigraph is not a convex set. What is the epigraph? Epigraph is this complete region, right? So this epigraph is not a convex set. So even though there are two global minima, they are, in this case they can be isolated, but in with a convex function this will not be possible. Further, if the function f is strictly convex, if the function f is strictly convex, then the global minimum is unique. Then there cannot be any 2 points. Why is that? Because again, assume to the contrary, that there are two global minima xg1, xg2, xg1 not equal to x of g of 2. Then look at the line segment joining xg1 and xg2, and this is because of the strict convexity is strictly less than this, but then this becomes, because both of them are same function values, they are same function values, so this is strictly less, this is nothing but equal to f of x of g of 1 and same as f of x of g of 2. So what did you get? You got that every value on this line segment has a cost or a value which is less than the global minimum, which is a contradiction to it's a contradiction to what? To xg1 and xg2 being global minimums. So therefore, uh, uh, it is not possible that there are two global minimums when the function is strictly convex. Okay, great. So this is a big value for this is a big result, big value, a very valuable result for in case of convex programming, because what it tells you is that you don't anymore have to worry about whether you are at a local minimum or a global minimum. And this kind of a issue becomes very important, for example, when you are looking at problems in economics or pricing or such a kind of a thing. So let me look at one particular interesting example, the example of maximizing consumer surplus. Recall in the very initial lectures, I had told you that every good has a worth called a utility of it, which is can be measured in rupees or dollars. And the consumer buys, let's say, X amount of it, and it has a worth of u of x in terms of dollars, and let's say that he pays a price p for it. Then the amount that he has paid is this, what he has got the worth is this, and the difference is called as the consumer surplus. So what I mean to say is, I had in that case taken a utility function which comes which is normalized between 0 and 1. For example, in the stochastic resource allocation problem, so utility function looks like this, and p of x looks like this, and you are trying to maximize this difference. Our consumer is trying to maximize his consumer surplus u of x minus p of x. So this is what he is trying to minimize. So it keeps increasing up till the x star here, and then at this x star, after that you find that the consumer surplus will start reducing. So if you plot the consumer surplus here, you'll see that it starts from 0, increases up till here, and then goes down here. So before I do this problem, just one more point I should mention here, that uh, for convex programming problem, we said that if there is a minimum, then it is a global minimum. Conversely, what we can also say is that for a concave function, if it has a maximum, then it is a global maximum. And utility functions like the one I have taken here, the utility function which I had taken here, these utility functions, you can very clearly see that their hypograph is their hypograph is a convex set. So you can very clearly see that their hypograph is a convex set, and hence these functions are concave. You take any book on economics and see whatever utility functions that you uh, come across, to keep the law according to the law of diminishing marginal utility, which should always remain positive, you will end up creating functions, utility functions. You will be able to prove that if they follow the law of diminishing marginal utility, then they will be actually concave functions, because then the second derivative will become strictly less than zero, and if the second derivative is strictly less than zero everywhere, then the function would be concave. So if I have a concave, x comes from a convex set, and I have a concave function fc, which I want to maximize, then it is same as minimizing minus of f of c of x coming from c, but minus of f of c actually here is actually a convex function. So therefore, this becomes a convex programming problem, wherein if there is a minimum, it is always global, and hence if there is a maximum to the concave programming problem, which is maximizing the function x coming from C, then that maximum would be the global maximum. Now, uh, we saw convex functions are used in information theory. Now you have seen another use of it. In economics, your utility function is always concave. So you see the applications as you keep coming across them, you will find this list growing. Now, now if let's come back to this particular problem that I am trying to maximize. So if I say maximize u of x minus of p of x, and I'm going to assume differentiability, differentiability, and not all concave functions need to be differential, right? Differentiable everywhere. For example, this function is a concave function, is it not? My f of x is minus of mod of x. It is indeed not differentiable at x equal to 0. It is not, it's differentiable everywhere, but even if it's not differentiable at one point, you can have a problem, because this is indeed the best point for it. So, and there it is not differentiable. So right now I am now looking at that set of concave functions which are differentiable, in which case if I am looking at this particular problem, and x is usually a good, so it is x is greater than or equal to 0, so we'll not worry about it right now. uh, we'll assume that constraint would be satisfied. Then what will happen if you are saying, if the price set for this good is p, then how much would the consumer buy, where the u dash of x star minus of p becomes equal to 0, or p becomes equal to u dash of x star. So provided, and the marginal utility is always positive, so this p dash of x star will be greater than 0. And what we see is that according to the price, he will set how much he is going to buy. And that is the point where the consumer surplus, his benefit is, he gets this much of benefit, but he pays only this. So this key, until this it reaches a maximum, he will be willing to buy. After that, he will not be willing to buy. Okay. Similarly, in economics, you would find that costs are usually cost functions are usually convex. For example, in cost of a thermal generator is many times shown as A naught plus uh, A plus B times of the generated power plus C times of the square of it, with C greater than 0. So this becomes a convex function. Now for the supplier, okay, for the supplier or the manufacturer of the good, he is being paid at the price P. So if he sells X amount, he will accrue Px, and he has a cost function C of X, which is convex, then his job is to maximize this particular value, and assuming differentiability of the cost function, what do we get? We get that the best value for him is such that his marginal cost, this is the marginal cost, becomes equal to price. So the best consumer decision is marginal utility should be equal to price. The best decision for the supplier is that marginal cost should be equal to price, but both of them do the deal at the same price. So therefore, in our simple case, both of them do the same price. So they, and I am not modeling any inventory, I am keeping my problem simple. So then the price you will have, you will get a equilibrium only if equilibrium for market exists if and only if trade price will be equal to this. So in a correctly formulated market, this price will be discovered. This price will be discovered. Otherwise, that market will not have a stability. So if you look at the something which is summation of, see, economics is both about consumer and the producer. It is not. It has to be fair to both. So you cannot tilt your balance towards the consumer, or you cannot tilt your balance towards the supplier. Now, this consumer surplus plus supplier profit is the net benefit of this ecosystem or the society here, and this is called total welfare or social welfare. And in our case, this is u of x minus of p of x plus of p of x minus of c of x, which is nothing but equal to u of x minus of c of x. So to solve this problem, and this is again this is a concave function. This is a concave function because u of x is concave, c of x is convex, minus of c of x is concave, and you are trying to maximize this. So then what do you do? Assuming again differentiability, u dash of x star minus of c dash of x star should be equal to 0, which is to say that u dash of x star should be equal to c dash of x star. That is to say that marginal utility should be equal to, at the optimal where the market clears, it should be equal to the marginal cost. And this, according to what we have shown here, what I'm sorry, what we have shown here, or what we have shown here, this has to be equal to, the price has to be set to, this has to be equal to the price. So therefore, to what we are trying to sort of say is that if this is the cost function, let's say, sorry, this is a utility, function. This gets confusing. I have to mark c of x here and u of x here. Maybe I should use a different color for the utility and a different color for the cost, and write this as c of x and write this as u of x. Then uh, then then where these two curves, this is of course the what is I have shown. Now what I have to plot, this is this is I'm sorry, this is x. Now plot u dash of x, let's say, just kept it simple. Plot c dash of x where they intersect. Okay, that is the market clearing. That is the market clearing. And now here u dash of x star is equal to c dash of x star. This becomes the price at which the market clears if it has to be a equilibrium condition. And integration of u dash of x minus of p of x would be the consumer surplus, and integration of p of x minus of c dash uh, of x, integration of this would be uh, this would be the so you keep integrating. This is the consumer surplus. What I mean to say is that suppose you start from zero, so this is the price that the consumer pays, this is the extra that he gets, so this is his surplus, he sees it as positive, so he keeps moving around this particular point, and then uh, and then maximizes it and reaches here. So you are actually, I'm sorry, you are looking at you to calculate consumer surplus. What exactly you are doing is you are looking at u dash of x minus p integral dx. The this is the consumer surplus, and this you maximize at this point. So here the CS is maximum, and similarly here this is the supplier profit, and this also maximizes at this particular point. This is where the supplier profit maximizes, and this overall solution is where the market clears. So you saw, we will come to this maybe a bit later on again. I'll also introduce a transportation network in between later on to show some constraint programming issues later on. But right now we will market clearing problem, we will stop here. But you see now that indeed convex functions and convex programming has applications not only in information theory but also in economics. The last very important convex programming problem is actually a linear programming problem. The linear programming problem I have described to you earlier is standard linear programming problem is x greater than or equal to 0. Now assume that it has a solution, and if it has a solution, of course it has to be feasible, then only it has a solution. Then the minimum is a global minimum. How does how does this, where does this come from? Simply because very easy to show that this is a convex set, and I leave it to you to do that. And we have already shown that this is a convex function. So therefore, this problem, a linear programming problem, if it has a solution, is always a global minimum. Further, if it has two minimums, then all the line segment joining the two minimums will, all of them would also be minimum. And if you look at the problem, uh, maximize C transpose X, Ax equal to Bx greater than or equal to 0, then we have already agreed on this earlier, that C transpose X, a linear function, is both convex and concave. So now you are maximizing a concave function on a convex set. So therefore it also has, if it has a maximum, then that becomes a global maximum. And if you get two or more of them, then the whole line segment joining them would also be the global maximum. Okay, so with this we will close this lecture. Thank you.